Are moving into reports. Mayor's report. Mrs. Gilbert.
Progress.
Public Works. Mr. Lavenberg.
Yes, we did not meet due to the weather. Our next meeting is April 2nd here in Council Chambers, 3:30. Progress.
Health, Sanitation, and Codes. Mr. Shobsta.
Thank you. Nothing for official action. Our next meeting is scheduled for March 19th at 4:30 p.m. Progress.
Parks and Recreation. Mr. Anders.
We also did not meet because of the weather. Excuse me. We do meet April 7th, and I'll report progress.
Public Safety. Anyone like to make a report? Mr. Brown. Thank you, sir.
Only one item for official action for right now. It is the Emergency Operations Plan. The Public Safety Committee, along with James Kripp, our EOA Emergency Operations Administrator, he has done a very this plan that had to come together is very lengthy, and we really want to thank Mr. Kripp for his efforts and what he's done. This is something that I would think it's more than just a year that Mr. Kripp's been working on. It's been a while since we finally got a emergency operation plan in place. So Public Safety unanimously recommended to full council for their adoption of the resolution to adopt the emergency operations plan, which is resolution 2015-10, and I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Is there a second to that motion? Second by Mr. Anders. Discussion. All those in favor of Resolution 2015-10? We have 6 ayes. Go ahead, if you'd like to.
Do you have anything else?
No, at this time, there's nothing for official action. We will have, I believe we'll discuss some personnel matters in executive session tonight.
Correct,
So
Mr.
at
Brown.
this time, Public Safety is going to report progress
I'm
unless
gonna
there's
add just
Mr.
one
Brown,
other
and
thing.
Mr. Barrett is not ready.
Yeah, there was just one more comment. In the meeting, if you go back, I think the original request came back in January for
the
a
5-mile.
5-mile race.
I forgot about that one.
And we did approve the race, basically leaving that up to the Chief of Police to make sure that the course was adequate. Myself, Chief Faust, and Rochelle Romeo, who was the race organizer, did meet, I guess that was last week that we met, and reviewed a course. A map has been produced, and do you want to see the final course map, and then we'll make a final decision on that? If that's the preference, we'll get that to everyone. That it's pretty straightforward. It's similar to what was originally discussed, but there were a few safety concerns that all those were addressed, and I think it'll run very smoothly. So would you rather me do that at the next?
It was approved contingent upon Chief
Okay.
Faust approving the route. So if full council wants to review it first, that's fine.
And which race are we talking about?
This is
The
the
5K.
Is this the one that involves Funk Brewery and the Triangle?
Miler, I
Okay.
think is what it's officially called.
As long as Chief Faust is okay with the route, if council has conditionally approved it
Okay.
pursuant to Chief Faust's approval, I would then say, for informational purposes, I think it would be good if we would all see it so we're clear, but I would say move on.
There
It should be
are
fine.
there are a few road closures that go along with that as well, which we did not approve because we were unsure of the course. So if you still think that we should take that same course of action.
I think it's fine. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, more of an informative piece here that a course has been set. It's going to start on Ridge Street, right by Ridge Manor. That block there will be closed for the start of it between 3rd and 4th, just for the start of the race, which is a short period of time. The race will also finish there, so it will be closed during that period. And then there'll be a brief closing of Ridge all the way to Macungie Avenue, and then from Ridge then turns into Walnut.
You'll move to Walnut.
From then Walnut to Macungie Avenue, from Macungie Avenue to North Street. That'll have a closing for about 10 minutes. We felt that because those two arteries have a fair amount of traffic on them, and the grouping of runners will also be compact the most at that point, that it's, for safety reasons, worth closing that for about 10 minutes during that first mile of the race. Then after that, just like the other races that have run through town for years, like the Emmaus 4-miler, which really do not rely on closed roads other than at the start, they'll get into some of the neighborhoods in the kind of the backside of Emmaus, and we felt it would be safe enough for that. So those are the only 2 road closures there, and otherwise I think it'll run very smoothly.
Mr. Brown?
Just real briefly, do we just inform the mayor? Like, is he in the loop on the road closures? I know they're
Yeah,
brief, I know they're 10 minutes, but just out of courtesy to him.
I was unaware that the email that the chief sent did not go to everyone. Otherwise, you would all see the information that he
Okay.
put together.
All right, I
It's
just want
pretty-
to make sure that
yeah.
he's aware.
You got it. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Do you have a question, Mr. Anders?
Just as far as the triangle, are they still utilizing that?
Yes, they're still going to use the triangle, but not for the start of the race. It's just for the end and the end activities.
They'll still have the band there and such.
That's correct. And Main Street, the little wing of Main Street there would also be closed. It's in. Chief had come up with the times that he thought was best in coordination with the event. He also made a recommendation for a number of police officers that would be there. I think we had originally thought 2 might be the number, but he actually said 1 might be okay. We left that in his hands in our last motion, so. It's really all there is. I just wanted to give an informative.
There's a question from Mr. Lakeman.
Are the awards going to be done on the triangle then
Yes.
also? Okay.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, they're hoping to make it an annual event, but also they're hoping to make this event a fairly large event, which would be great for the downtown.
Just one quick question. What time does the race actually start?
The race, I believe, starts at 11 o'clock. That did not change from the original. It
Okay.
is in the original. That part didn't change
stayed
at
the same?
all.
Okay. All right.
Any further questions from council? Is that it for public safety?
Yeah, progress.
Thank you, sir. General Administration, Mr. Barrett?
We have completed all the things that required official action for the General Administration Committee. We are scheduled to meet on Wednesday. However, I believe we've covered most of the tasks, and there is just one item, the location of the fence. So if we do not need to meet, I'll cancel that meeting now.
I'll be out of town.
Yeah, that's the numbers.
Well, you run the meeting, Moses.
Thank you.
All right.
So,
That's
so
canceled.
Gen Ad meeting will be canceled for this Wednesday.
Thank you, sir.
Progress.
Thank you. Budget and Finance, we have 2 items on the agenda this evening. The first would be the bill list. Mr. Shubster, if you would, please.
Thank you. Resolution 2015-8, resolved by Borough Council to authorize payment of the March 16th, 2005 bill list as follows. Bill list, $101,092.15. Payroll number 5, $119,961.67. Payroll taxes, $42,256.24, for a total of $263,310.06. Done this 16th of March, 2015, and I'll place that in the form of a motion.
Is there a second to that motion?
Oh, this isn't,
Second by Mr. Anders. Thank you, sir. Discussion? All in favor? We have 6 ayes. The committee also this evening has before you an ambulance financial hardship billing policy. Purpose of this is to ensure that individuals who apply for a financial hardship have a system by which that hardship will be determined. In the past, we had no policy of how billing within the ambulance corps should deal with a request for a financial hardship reduction. So in front of you now, you have a plan that determines exactly how that should be dealt with. The committee made 2 very small grammatical changes this evening to the policy. Otherwise, the policy is as written. It encompasses anything that you need to know if you are billed for ambulance service and believe you have a financial hardship that needs to be considered to assist you in paying that bill. Is there a motion to adopt this policy on financial hardship billing for the ambulance corps? A motion by Mr. Schubser. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Brown. Discussion. Mr. Barrett.
More of just a appreciation for putting this together. I know it was something that when we realized that this policy didn't exist, I thought it was an oversight that I'm glad to see it was taken care of so quickly.
Mr. Ladenburg.
Yeah, I'm impressed with this. I know that you wanted to come up with this, but I wasn't expecting, the detail of this is very good. But I do have a question on, it says 100% of the federal poverty level and then 101 to 125%. Obviously, it's 2015. Do we have to approve it every year then, or is it going to be in our fee structure? How will that work? Because every year the poverty level changes.
It would be based on that year's. The federal government releases it, and I think the policy somewhere talks about exactly who releases the federal poverty guidelines.
Will that be printed somewhere so people know what the levels are? Because they won't know unless they know where to look for
If you see an addendum
at the back, and I
Page
believe
nine.
C.
so when they
Right.
request it, they'll receive that
So every
information
year,
with them.
every year addendum C would be whatever this year's guidelines
So
would
if
be.
they request it, we'll be giving them a form and this will be attached to it?
Essentially, they're going
Yes.
to get the majority of this policy.
Okay, thank you.
And just so just to be clear, Tina Shantz worked very hard with me to create this. So she unfortunately, we didn't have a formal policy in place. She was utilizing what they felt was their own policy. We needed to formalize this and put it in place. So she worked very hard alongside of me creating this policy. And Budget and Finance obviously had a lot of input as to how we wanted to create the financial guidelines and not make it arbitrary. Because before it was, one of the issues before was, well, if I have child support, I have a financial hardship. Well, you know what, I have bills too. I still have to pay my bills. So they made it based solely on income. But they also allowed for, if there's a major life change type of thing. And, those income guidelines were based on several factors. So I thought that at the end of the day, I personally feel like we got this one right. There was a lot of thought behind it. It took a few months to put this together and review it.
Very good. I believe we have a motion on the floor. It's been properly seconded. All those in favor? We have 6 ayes. I believe that's it for Budget and Finance this evening. Mr. Schubs, anything else?
Nope.
All right, reporting progress. Moving on to Community Relations, Planning and Development. Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Holtsaver. Nothing for official action, but just a quick update on 2 things. The Emmaus Main Street Partners has formed an economic development committee team. They're looking at many of the businesses' development needs throughout the borough. This is kind of going in line of where the CRD committee is starting to focus on in our 5 to 10 year plan, which is very exciting. One of the things, though, that we're keeping a very close eye on is there's a lot of good ideas out there, but it's how do they get implemented? How do they get applied to? Many times, I think one of the things that council kind of felt frustrated was everything's a good idea, but why wasn't it getting implemented? So CRD is working with the Main Street Partners and specifically the Economic Development Committee to implement these goals that they're having instead of just coming up with ideas. Because many times we come up with ideas and that's all they are, is just ideas. So just wanted to bring everybody up to speed on that. Also, council is urged for recommendations for Volunteer of the Year. In your notes, there was 5. I have one on my desk tonight that makes 6 Volunteers of the Year nominations. So if you have any, please forward them to the CRD committee, and we'll go from there, and then with everybody's input. I'll report progress if there's no questions.
I had one question. How large is the committee that is looking at that for the Main Street Partners? The committee that's looking at economic
How many people?
Yeah.
I don't have it off the top of my head. It definitely is a pretty decent number. It's about 4 to 5. I know they asked Mr. Pepe and myself to join them at 8 a.m. In the morning at different locations, but I believe it's 5.
I think it might be more than that, actually.
It's pretty big.
Yeah. One
There's
thing
a
they
lot
did
of
was
input.
They actually solicited more than just members of the Main Street
Yeah.
Partners.
Gotcha.
There are
This is outside.
economic development agencies through the county and some other resources that they've tried to pull in as a partner with us.
That's great. So they're really looking at different, I'm going to say authorities for lack of a better word, but
Yep.
to pull that in. That's great because I think that's what was
They're
needed.
going beyond their boundaries,
That's good.
if I can put it that way, which is good. They're thinking outside of the box, and what kind of different ideas and how can we do things. So.
Great.
Just, I did see, obviously, the list of the volunteers, and, if the community has someone that they feel also they should let one of us know that we can bring it to the attention of council.
Mhm.
Feel free to email us, and we'll bring that as well. It shouldn't be just us.
Progress.
Thank you, sir. Personal appeals, part 2. Any member of the audience with a personal appeal, please approach the podium, state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes to present your appeal. Upon hearing none, Mr. Pepe, your borough manager's report this evening.
You'll see the significant revenue and expense items for the first half of March are in there. Nothing outside of what's not already budgeted. Mr. Liebenberg?
Was the contract for Rodale signed yet?
It was signed on Friday by the council president and Rodale.
I think we should let the public know that the contract has been signed for the sale.
We just did. Thank you, sir. Anything else, Mr. Pepe?
No.
All right, then at this time I need to ask that we adjourn in executive session with the intent of discussing fire department personnel and anticipated action upon our return. We are adjourned at recessed. I'm sorry, we are recessed at 8 p.m. Thank you, Mr. Barrett. Almost got us out of here. Yes, we're recessed.
Recess.
Yeah, you don't want that word.
Thanks, sir.